We're recording.
That's not the video I thought.
Why don't you just look up the actual version of it? Why do you always look it up on drums?
Because then I gotta log on to actual pool, not log on to Pornhub. I don't have an account or anything, but... Mm-hmm. Alright, welcome to Post Hunt Clarity episode 4.
Is it Yeah, it is episode 4.
It's episode 4.
What do you want to talk about tonight?
Well, I think we got a lot to talk about. You have some positives. I'm going to be an absolute fucking negative Nancy tonight because I have nothing but complaints. So if you want to start on a good note, we can
do this. I'll talk about the buck I just killed, and then we can just talk about Wisconsin rifle hunting as a whole and problems, good things, bad things.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
All right. Well, it is Wednesday, November 22nd, I believe. Blackout Wednesday, yep. It's the midway point of Wisconsin's 9-day rifle season. I've got some good news to share. I killed my third whitetail of the year on Saturday, opening morning of gun season. Shot him at about 8:30 in the morning. The story's nothing crazy. There's kind of some cool parts, but basically had a good morning, saw a lot of deer. 8:30, I looked up. He was out in the field in front of me. Like, yep, that's a shooter. Got on him. By the time I got on him and he gave me a shot, he was in the edge of the field. So I kind of rushed a shot because I thought he was going to step into the brush.
How far away was he?
175 yards.
Okay, so it's a little bit of a toss. Not too bad.
Yeah, shot. He picked his head up, looked around all confused, and got a second shot, which was a frontal shot, so right at his chest.
So just flinging lead.
Yeah. He's on the far right side of the field, so all he has to do is take 2 steps to the right, and he's gone. Instead, he turns and runs back to the left, all the way back across the field. So I re-rack another one, shoot a third time, and I could tell I hit him on that shot, or I thought I did. And then I actually got a 4th shot at him, too. So I literally emptied my entire clip at this deer.
Just mag dumped him.
Yeah. And I was like, well, now what do? I'm out of bullets. Like, I only brought 4 into the woods with me.
Oh, what?
I'm like...
You don't bring extras?
I brought 4. How many times in your life have you ever been in a situation in Wisconsin where you think you could get more than 2 shots off at the same deer?
I fired 3 numerous times, which is basically my entire mag. But at least, like, I have a couple extra in my backpack in case, like, okay, I had a buck come out right away and I've wasted 3 at it, and then I want to sit for a doe or something else. Like, that's the only time, but I don't think I'd go in the woods with less than, like, 6 shells.
I've shot 1 deer. I've shot 1 time before this ever in Wisconsin rifle season. What do you think the odds of me shooting 4 in the same sit are?
I mean, where you went hunting, I was going to expect you to shoot deer.
I would too, but still, I mean, I didn't figure I'd get 4 shots off. So anyways, I got down. I had no clue if I hit this deer. I had a feeling I at least hit it based on the way he reacted after the 3rd shot. But after the first 2, he just acted like confused and like not like a shot deer. So long story short, I snuck out. Tried not to screw anybody else's hunting up, grabbed an entire box of shells, and went back to the stand and sat till like 10:30. Got down. My dad shot a buck at like 6:45 in the morning. In typical,
like right at friggin'.
Yeah, literally 2 or 3 minutes into shooting light. In typical my dad fashion, that's the 2nd year in a row he's done that on opening morning. He kind of had the same thing. He thought he made a good shot. Wasn't sure. And they ended up finding his deer at about 11:30. It was one of those deals where he shot, made a perfect shot, and it just ran and literally died right where he started to not be able to see. So it was the easiest track job in the world. So then we went to look for mine at 12:30, and we're walking up the right side of this field, and we got to about where we thought I shot him, and I can't find blood anywhere, and I'm like, oh no. And this was a good buck, a really good buck. And so I'm just sick. My uncle's up in kind of the top left part of the field, which is where he exited the field, and he whistles and kind of gives me a finger motion, come over here. And I get up there, and it literally looked like somebody dumped a bucket of red paint out in the field. I mean, blood everywhere. So we get to the corner of the field, and we see him immediately. He made it 40 yards. So I grazed the top of his neck on my first shot, ruined the cape. So I'm curious to see how the mount turns out. The guy said it should be fine. He said he'll just
stitches are for.
Yeah, he said that's where the seam will be. Missed on the second shot, blew both his shoulders out on the third shot, and then missed on the fourth shot. So it was, I don't know. The first shot wasn't good. The second shot I had to rush. I mean, I thought the dude would take off at any minute. Mm-hmm. The third shot I kind of collected myself and made a good shot. And the fourth shot I had to rush again because he was almost out of the field. And I figured he's presenting another shot. Why wouldn't I take it?
Start flinging lead.
Mm-hmm.
That's the typical Wisconsin gun season vibe.
Yeah, that was sweet. And then I sat with my brother the rest of the weekend. Tried to get him his first buck. We had some super cool sits, a lot of action. He passed a nice buck, a buck that most people would kill for their first buck. Buck that anybody would kill for their first buck. I mean, it's probably 110, 115-inch 8-pointer.
Sure.
3.5-year-old. But he didn't want to in the area we were hunting. He wanted to let it grow till next year, so proud of him for that. And yeah, it was awesome. But on the flip side of that, obviously,
Hold on.
What?
Did you score your deer?
No, I haven't.
Really? What?
I have not.
You scored your Kansas deer before it was even gutted out, basically. And this deer, you didn't put a tape to it.
I know.
You said probably 140. I looked at it.
Well, so the one thing I will say, and I'm always, in our first 3 episodes, I'm the guy that says, be happy with what you shoot and stuff, and I'm super happy with this deer. He's going to be the highest scoring buck I've ever killed. I'm over the moon. He's a mature deer, and to kill one during rifle season, like I said, I've rifle hunted since I was 10. This is the first buck I've ever killed during rifle season in Wisconsin. Because it's always just a shit show, but...
Oh, it's fucking stupid.
Yeah, but he came out with his right side toward me, and his right side, his brow tines on that side, his main beams, or his G2s, are significantly taller than his left. So when I shot, I thought he was 150 when I shot him. Mm-hmm. He looked massive. His left side is good, but, his G2 on his left side is probably 3 inches shorter. His brow tine is probably 1 inch to 1/2 inch. So I'm guessing he's right around 140. But he's a good buck. My dad's probably just cracks 140. His is a really good buck. And then my grandpa and cousin ended up killing, I guess you could call it the same deer. She shot it Saturday morning. They didn't find it. It walked out in front of my grandpa Sunday night, and he killed it. So that was cool.
Well, so you guys had a really good week.
Yeah.
A weekend.
Yeah. But we'll kind of get into this as a whole. I guess you can talk about your opening weekend if you want, because Gabe got his fiance her first deer, which is super cool. Probably cooler than me killing a third one this year. But I think I share some of the same frustrations with you for my hunting that came Monday night through today.
Mm-hmm. I'll give you a little background as soon as I get done chewing this granola bar. My history with gun season, I know. I started gun hunting when I was 10. We owned a cabin up in Price County, Northwoods, next to Schwamigan National Forest. And we hunted county land up there. We had land at the cabin, but wasn't like there's just not big deer up there, at least ones we wanted to shoot at the cabin. So we'd always go hunt county. And I went years without killing deer, or I'd kill a spike, or blah, blah, blah. I mean, I killed one good 10-pointer. That's still about 110 inches up there when I was 18, 19. One of those, I don't even know. But I just grew to hate gun season. One, in Wisconsin, gun season's always cold as fuck. Especially
which
in the
I
northern part
like,
of the state.
personally.
Yeah, I mean, like, this gun season was, like, good weather, but, I mean, I've had opening days where it's, like, 2 degrees, snowing, 20-mile-an-hour wind in your face, and, like, I don't sit in box blinds. I've always taken a climber and climbed up a tree, and I'm sitting out there, and, of course, my dad's like, opening day, you gotta sit all day. I'm freezing my ass. It's freaking miserable.
Yeah, but it's also kind of a mental game at that point. Like, if you can sit for 2 hours and most other people are only going to make it an hour and a half, you've got the advantage to kill a deer now, especially hunting public land, because they're all going to walk out and they might push something to you, or then you got the woods to yourself, you know?
Up there, I disagree, because those fuckers are built different. They have the same mentality of they go in, they'll ride their four-wheeler. I mean, we rode four-wheelers in on the county up there. Whether you can or not, I still don't know. That's what I was told to do when I grew up. So we'd go back in county land, like, you know, a mile, 2 miles, and, you know, there wasn't that many people, so I never really had to deal with people walking around up there. I'd see one person or two people the entire gun season, and they were basically neighbors down the road. So, like, it wasn't bad pressure-wise where I grew up hunting. Just the deer hunting sucked. I mean, you go all season and you'd see a doe or a spike buck or a couple spikes. Like, that's it. So then I the last couple of years before I moved to Missouri, started hunting around Stanley where I grew up, which is just off Highway 29, central part of the state, still considered northern Wisconsin, and started hunting public land south of Stanley, north of Stanley, where my buddies always hunted. There's freaking people everywhere. Like, I'd put in time 2 weeks before season, whether I'd bait deer or just, like, go find spots on clear cuts, hang cameras, get decent bucks that I was excited to hunt. And I'd go on opening day, and there'd be fucking guys wearing blue jeans and an orange vest or whatever walking around 45 minutes after first light, just, like, trying to kick up a deer and shit. I'm like, it's not going to happen. And I'd never kill anything, never see anything. So I quit gun hunting back in 2020. 2020, I didn't buy a gun tag. And then I moved to Missouri, and I didn't rifle hunt in Missouri. So 2 years after living in Missouri, I moved back to Wisconsin, and wasn't going to gun hunt because I hate it that much. It's just miserable. It's a waste of time, in my opinion. Unless you have good land to hunt, which I didn't. So 2022, my grandma closed on the cabin. And, like, closing date was the Saturday after gun season ended. So we had the last gun season up there, and that was why I gun hunted, like, got into it. It was literally a tradition thing. All the family would go up to the cabin,
yeah.
We'd hang out, it was deer camp. That's what I liked about it, but the hunting sucked. So I'm like, I got one last chance. Everybody's grown up. The cousins are all, you know, in their 20s. The adults are all in their 50s. Like, this is going to be the last deer camp. So I went up there, basically sat all day, and that buck, I mean, that we filmed with last podcast, I mean, I saw him right at last light, and I shot him. I'm like, this is the last deer that any of us are going to kill off that property, and I killed it.
Yeah.
And it was the last deer any of us killed off that property, or ever will, because it's sold now and it's gone. And that was weird about this year is, like, my family on the dad's side. I have a lot of cousins, all the uncles, like, a family that I grew up hunting with that's, like, super serious about it. And now everybody's spread out, right? Nobody owns land. There's not a single person in my family that owns more than 1 acre of land. And, like, they're huge hunters, so this is crazy for you guys to listen to. Like, they've hunted since they were kids. You know, 45 years ago, my grandfather hunted whatever, you know, for another 30 years before that. So the last 70 years, the Denzine family has been hunting. Nobody owns any land. Yeah. It's always been public, or it's always been permission. As years go by, permission dissipates, landowners die, younger generations not so excited about people hunting on their property. Public land has gotten worse, predation's gotten worse, so it's like all these factors for me build into why I hate gun season so much. So that brings it back to this year. we're all spread out. I don't, like, everybody in my family's hunting public somewhere else, and I wasn't going to buy a tag.
You were going to come, we'd talked about him coming with me.
Yeah, I was originally going to film you, and then, like, 7 days before gun season, Ellie brought up, well, maybe I'd like to go hunt and shoot a deer. And I'm like, are you serious? She's like, yeah, let's do it. So I grabbed my dad's 243, shot it 3 times at the range. It was still nuts on. And then I did some scouting the Sunday before deer season opened up, found a spot with some good bucks that I saw in person. And told her, I'm like, okay, we'll just go sit on the ground during gun season. But she didn't complete hunter safety yet, so technically it had to be a mentor hunt, which in Wisconsin means the mentor has to be a licensed tag holder. They got to be above 18, and you have to be within an arm's length apart. One weapon in between the two of you. So I bought my gun tag only because she wanted to hunt. Take her out opening morning. We had coyotes come in like right at first light at like 5 yards. She almost shot a coyote. It was super cool. Scared the crap out of us. 2 does came out. She didn't want to shoot a doe. Then another doe came out from above us and saw us while we were on the ground at like 45 yards and started stomping at us. But she was upwind of us, so she couldn't smell us. So she starts to circle, right? This doe is sitting there, stomp, 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 and Ellie's like, I'm not shooting it. And I'm like, this doe's going to blow and it's going to ruin our whole hunt. She's like, do you think she's going to blow? I'm like, oh yeah, I think she's going to blow. Because I wanted Ellie to shoot this deer, right? She didn't want to shoot a doe, she wanted a buck, but I'm like, just shoot a deer. As soon as I told Ellie, I'm like, it's going to blow and this hunt's going to be over. She's like, I'm going to kill that motherfucker. So literally, I'm filming this doe, it comes in. I figured she'd tell me, like, hey, I'm going to shoot so I could be ready for it. And I'm following this deer. I'm like, okay, you want it? And all of a sudden, boom! Freaking deer starts running. Runs 20 yards and stops. And I'm like, she just missed. I'm like, you got to shoot it again, shoot again. So, like, I had to... She's trying to open up the bolt, and she has it halfway, so it can't quite slide back. So I got to grab the gun, rack another shell in, hand it back to her. And I left the camera, pointed in this direction because I was just trying to coach her. And I'm like, get it on her, get it on her. And the deer started walking away. So, like, shit, not going to get another shot. By some act of God, this doe does a 180, starts walking back towards us, comes like 10 yards, turns broadside and starts walking. And as she starts walking, Ellie fires. And I see just blood pumping out of this deer. Just freaking caked it. Well, the deer starts taking off, and it runs like 80 yards, and we lose sight. And it totally crossed onto the private property of the neighbors, so I'm like, oh, crap, so we got to do this, right? Ellie's first deer. If I was up north with other people, I may have done things a little bit differently, but I didn't want to trespass. So we got to the property line, blast the blood trail. I'm like, this thing's spraying blood. And I'm like, it's going to be 60 yards across, and it drops down a ridge. And I bet the deer's right there. So Ellie wanted to just cross the fence and go grab this deer. I'm like, we got to call the landowner, stop in. So we walked back to the truck and 80 out. Drove like a big mile loop.
Wait, so at this point you knew the deer was dead? Like you'd seen it?
No, we didn't see it. No confirmation that this deer is dead, but with the look at the blood and where I saw her shoot, like I knew this was a dead deer. But again, we're shooting a 243 and she didn't hit the shoulder, so it didn't drop. It's going to run 80 yards, 90 yards, and be done. So we got back to the truck, drove around, I looked on Onyx, I'm like, okay, totally an old farmer name, or farmer couple. Pulled into the old farmhouse, and I found in the yellow pages their phone number because there was no vehicles in the driveway. So I'm in the driveway on the phone, and I call them, and an old lady answers. And she's like, hi. I'm like, hey, my fiance shot her first deer. I'm actually in your driveway. What happened was the public land behind your property. We were hunting, and she shot a deer, and it crossed onto yours. We just didn't want to trespass. But we didn't see anybody home in the driveway, so that's why I'm calling you. And she's like, I'm inside. Hangs up the phone, and I'm like, okay. All of a sudden, the door opens. In, like, not 90, but upper 80s, this hunchback, like, not a cute old lady. I don't think old people are cute. But Ellie's like, oh, my God, she's so cute. And she walks out, hunched over, just slowly putting out the door. I'm like, okay, here we go. This is good. I hop out. And the old lady's face, like, she's not smiling. She's just, like stone cold, like, oh, shit, we gotta deal with this. Ellie hops out of the vehicle, and that old lady's face lit up with a big smile. And I'm just like, okay, this is it. She's like, so I hear you got your first deer. And she's like, yeah, it just crossed onto your property and we played it nice. And she's like, yeah, you're more than welcome. Go retrieve it. And I'm like, okay, well, this is going to suck because now it's like 3/4 of a mile from their house to where this deer is. She's like, no, just drive through it. She's like, we cut the cornfield, and by cutting the cornfield, that means there's 2 to 3 foot tall corn stalks still. She's like, drive right through it. We don't care. So I take my truck. We're bahaing it through this private cornfield and parked the truck, and this deer was 30 yards from where we parked the truck, laying there dead. So I filmed it, gutted it out, looked at the deer, and she shot it on the left side. Both shots. I thought she missed the first one, but after looking at it, there was 2 bullet holes about 2 inches apart on the entrance. And it was 2 inches behind the shoulder, about 3 inches down from center. So like a really good shot, but the deer was quartered towards. So the exit came out the gut. The exit hole was the size of a softball.
That's how mine
And the freaking guts were just hanging out the other side. So I'm like, I guess that's why it probably didn't drop, because it wasn't broadside and she should have been on the shoulder, but it's fine. She made a good shot. I mean, the deer died right away. Got this deer out, drove back to the old lady's place, and talked to her like, hey, thank you again. You know, it was such a blessing that you let us out here. And I'm like, I saw a couple trail cameras, or a trail camera and a tree stand on the way out there. Do you have other people that hunt? And she's like, yeah, there's a few people that have asked that we let hunt, but we never see them out here, or they never let us know that they hunt here. And I'm like, well, they own 280 acres and some pretty good territory. So I asked her, I was like, well, would you be opposed to us hunting the rest of rifle season, or, you know, have bow hunting permission on this property? She's like, yep, go ahead. We don't care. I'm like, holy shit. Like, I just got a really good property, or what could be a really good property. But story of my life, right? I grew up hunting public, or I had private permission, but I've never had a piece of private all to myself. Every private piece I have has been by an old couple like that. That's like, we let everybody that asks hunt. So it's still private, but it's almost as bad as public in a sense, because they're all crammed. So, and they had a lot of farmland, so we went out there that next evening. Ellie and I got out there like 3 o'clock to go sit. Somebody had a truck parked out there, and we walked out, and I saw a guy in orange wearing blue jeans sitting on a fucking pail. Walked over and talked to him, and I got within 40 yards, and he saw me, and I kind of startled him, and I whispered, I'm like, hey, sorry to, you know, I don't want to ruin your hunt, but I just want to know, like, if you're okay with us, you know, out here. And he turns to me, and he's like, oh, yeah, have at her. I don't care, like, at the top of his lungs. And I'm like, Jesus, okay, here we go. So he starts talking to me. He's like, yeah, I'm hunting over here. We've hunted this property for years. The landowner lets us out here. My buddy Dale's way over there. And I'm like, okay, well, that's where we were going to hunt. He's like, oh, go just
Dale
sit right...
an idiot, too?
So just, I'll get there. Just sit right between us. And I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. Like, I kind of just want to be, like, I don't want her to get shot, and I don't want to shooting at each other, and, like, we can just leave. He's like, no, you take her, you go get her a deer. Like, we're fine. We've never shot a deer off this property anyways. And I'm like, you've never shot a deer off this property? He's like, yeah, it looks really good, but I don't understand. We've just never shot a deer. And I'm sitting there like, I fucking wonder why, you know, like, just sitting on a pail. And like, I talked to him, he's like, I can only shoot 150 yards anyways, and he's got some giant, like, he could easily crack 300, but he's like, I can only shoot 150. He's like, we sit till dark though, just so you know, like, we'll be out of here around 5, and shooting hour is like 4:56 or something like that, 4:58. So we walk at about 250 yards from him, and I see Dale at the end. We're about 200 yards from Dale, so it's like a fucking wall, right, of guns ready to blast any deer that comes out. 3:55 comes around, and all of a sudden I hear voices. And I start looking over to the guy we just talked to an hour ago, and I'm listening, and I hear him talking. I'm like, why is he talking out loud again? And all of a sudden, like, I hear somebody else talking. The fucking guy, like, had a phone call, put it on speakerphone, and sat out there on his bucket, like, talking like you and I are right now. Same tone of voice, like, I can hear this whole conversation. He's talking, I don't know if he was talking to Dale or somebody else called him. He's on this phone call until 4:30, dude. 25 minutes of legal light left on a field. I'm like, it's into prime time now, where deer should be making their way to feed. Finally, he shuts off the phone. It quiets down. 4:40, I hear like a plastic, like, sounded like a dude kicked the bucket. look over, and he's carrying his pail, and he's walking back to his truck. Mind you, this dude parked his truck 80 yards in the middle of the cut cornfield from where he was sitting. And it's a 1999, 2000 shitbox Dodge Cummins, like a fucking 12 valve, right? Which I know is gonna be loud. Well, he's slamming his door, hops in his truck, and I'm like, he's gonna turn the truck on. Well, after a minute went by, or a couple minutes, like 4:45, and he's sitting in the truck, and he didn't turn on. I'm like, okay, maybe there's a chance, right, that this can calm down. A deer might come out in the next 10 minutes, and she can get a shot. All of a sudden, I hear crunch, 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 crunch. I look over, and this motherfucker named Dale is walking out at the speed of a sloth. And he's still 200 yards away, or 150, but he's got to pass us, right? So I'm like, okay, we're fucked, because it's going to take him 5 minutes to get here. Walks by us, and he's another old dude. I've never seen a hunter like that before. I'm not getting into it, but I was surprised, I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know they hunted.
Good Lord, dude.
So Dale walks by, and I nod at him, and I'm like, howdy. He doesn't say anything, and just puts his head down and keeps, and he's like dragging his feet, and he's getting over. I'm like, okay, we have 6 minutes left of legal light. I think our hunt's over. And at this point, Ellie's upset. She's just like, let's just leave. I'm like, nope, there's a chance. Let's just let them leave. Maybe they'll get to the truck and wait and just, chill. And just chill. He gets about 80 yards from the truck, and all of a sudden I hear the truck door open, and orange jacket guy comes back, running around thing. Dale, what the hell did you see? And then all of a sudden I hear back, man, I didn't see shit. I'm like, oh my God. So they start socializing in the field while we're hunting. I'm like, either they're doing it to be assholes, or this is just simply how people are. They don't give a single shit. So they got in the truck, slammed the doors, cranked over this piece of shit that sounded like a goddamn rocket ship, peeled out of the cornfield. Heat of the moment, even Ellie didn't want to be around me, and it was her hunt, and I'm the one that's mad.
Yeah. So, I guess to shed light on where I was going earlier, I kind of have a similar situation. I've hunted, I've never missed a rifle season since I was 10 years old, and I'm 24 now, so you can do the math on that. But we've got, both my grandparents do have private land. It's not in, prime real estate of Wisconsin where most people think. And like I said, I've had one encounter with a shooter buck in some thick brush that I kind of took a pot shot at when I was 14. Since then, I've never shot a buck in rifle season here.
It's hard when you're north of Highway 8, especially. It's it's hard north of Highway 29.
Yeah.
It's harder north of 64. Highway 8, it's oh.
Yeah, so for me, I was fortunate enough, I got a pretty good piece of land to go hunt opening weekend, but then on Monday, I headed up to one of my grandparents' cabins, which is up by Exland, Wisconsin. And that's, starting to get into territory where people are talking about seeing wolves and,
Oh, you're in that territory.
Yeah. Coyotes are a huge problem, and there's a ton of bears. And so I went up, and I sat Monday night, and it was, one of those things where, I've never been so uninterested in hunting because I just, I knew there was no reason to be out there, really. Tuesday morning, I slept in, which I literally never do. I am never in my life I have been the guy that sleeps in, ever. And then yesterday night, I actually went and hunted public down the road from there. We have private to hunt, and I went and hunted public because I'm there's no deer up here. And so I hunted Monday night up there, drove around all day yesterday for 3 hours. I took my grandpa for a drive, and we just went and scouted. There's so much public up around there. Yep. And we went and drove around we put 50 miles on my truck, just driving, looking at public. And looking at private, just fields, looking for deer. We never saw a deer. I didn't see a deer Monday night. I didn't see a deer scouting yesterday. I walked in. I found a clear cut on some MFL last night that I went and hunted. And as I was walking in, I literally was 2 steps off the road. And this little fork buck came walking out onto the road. That's the only deer I saw the whole time I was up there. So part of where I think we should go with this episode is like, what do you think? Like, you posted that article on Facebook that's like the difference between the southern part of the state and the northern part of the state,
yes,
right?
Yes, I reshared that.
Obviously, like, wolves have become a huge problem, some things like that, but what do you think the problems with, like, Wisconsin gun season is? Because I talked to multiple, like, it wasn't just us. Like, I know multiple people that are good hunters up in this area that sat all of opening weekend and saw a deer, didn't see a deer, saw less than 4 deer,
saw
like
more wolves than they did deer.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously the wolf thing's a problem, right? But what do you think part of the issue is? Because, like, for me, you were talking about hunting. Like, I love rifle hunting. I don't like the hunting aspect of it nearly as much as I love bow hunting, but, like, the camaraderie of it all and stuff. Like, I would never. I'd probably take opening weekend of rifle hunting over the peak rut, just simply for the camaraderie of it all. Like, my grandpa goes out to the cabin, my uncle, my cousins, my brother, my dad. We hang out, we have some drinks, we play cards, we shake dice. Like, it's just fun, right? And, like, if I shoot a deer or don't, like, I don't really care because it's fun to spend time with everybody and be in the woods and stuff. But from a hunting aspect, like, yeah, I love bow hunting way more. But
I just don't like seeing people. I like seeing deer. And
yeah.
So the question is, what do I think's like wrong?
So what do you think some of, like, the problems are? Because obviously, like, the harvest this year alone is down 16% so far.
16% from last year, and the other statistic is it's down 52% from 2001.
Yeah.
22 years later, the deer harvest is down 52%.
Yeah.
Is that saying there's less deer in the state of Wisconsin? Maybe. Personally, I think in the areas north of Highway 29, significantly less deer. Now, in that article I shared, it was talking about a DNR agent from Douglas County, which is up by Superior, right? Was stating that people were disappointed, lots of wolf sightings, significantly less deer this year than they've ever seen in the past. While another DNR official from down in Iowa County, which is down by Madison, you know, that area by Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota, like the best part of the state to hunt. We're saying that there's so many deer this year. Like, people are just killing lots of deer, seeing lots of deer, and it's just two complete different animals. There's a few factors that...
And that's the experience I had. Like, I'm not going to say specifically where I was, but I got to go down a little ways south of here earlier and, like, or for opening weekend.
What you would consider southern Wisconsin.
Yeah, and I think I saw over 200 deer in 4 sets. Like, it was stupid.
Yeah, that was when I went to my boss's piece in southern Wisconsin. Same thing. I'm like, I feel like I'm in Candyland. I've never had... It's like a surreal experience.
It's like,
right?
it was almost like, at times, there were almost too many deer. Because you'd have deer all around you. You couldn't look around without getting pinned. You know what I mean? Like, It was ridiculous. So what in the northern part of the state? I mean, I thought about this a lot yesterday. Once I texted you and said we should film a lot tonight. Like, I kind of went through my opinions on all this, which I can share. But I mean, like, I know for me, it just, like I said, it was like I don't even feel like hunting. You know, and most of the time, by the time we hit like Wednesday, Thursday rifle season, I'm like kind of over it anyways. But. This year, like, I bow hunted less than I have a lot of years because I was tagged out for so long in Wisconsin. So,
You're excited to go.
What do you feel like some of the things that need to change are? Because, like, I even remember, and I'll let you answer the question here soon. I know I've asked you like 4 times, but, like, I'm hearing stories, you know, of the first year my uncle could hunt, my grandpa shot 2 bucks, an 8-pointer and a 10-pointer. Yep. And we're talking in Burnett County, like, that's northern Wisconsin, not a good county to hunt in.
Today.
And, like, today. And really hasn't even been, like, that's where I started hunting, was over in Burnett County. The first year I could rifle hunt, that's where we hunted. And even then it wasn't. So,
So what I know, and, like, from experience... from looking at data, and this isn't just me being radical, like, kill all the wolves, there ain't any fucking deer. Like, I'm not that guy. My grandparents was that guy. My grandpa was that guy. My uncle and dad is, like, they're kind of that guy. Me, I look at it a little bit different perspective. So there's controllable variables and uncontrollable variables.
Yep.
uncontrollable variables in northern Wisconsin are 1, winter severity.
Yep.
And 2, I just posted this. What am I getting at? Agricultural land, cropland, food source, basically.
Are uncontrollable?
Are uncontrollable. Okay. And here's my reasoning. The winter severity, like Wisconsin is, I mean, it'll take it 5.5 hours to get from Janesville to Superior. If you drive, like, it's a big state. I mean, there's a couple 100 miles north to south. And the climate is very different from the southern part of the state to the northern part of the state. Where we live, we're about 2/3, maybe 3/4 of the way to the very, like, northernmost part of the state. Our winters here are probably 3 weeks longer than winters down in Madison. It always gets colder. There's way more snow and closer
least,
to the Great Lakes.
I'd say you probably have 2 weeks on both ends.
Last year in Barron County, we set a record, like, historically, as long as they've documented, the snowiest winter in history. And that was, we had, like, over 130 total inches of snow.
Yeah,
like, which is a lot, which obviously takes a hit on the deer herd because there's less, like, it's hard for them to move, easier for predators to get them, less food, less forage, they die. The other thing is corporate America is kind of something to blame for it. 20 years ago, just like, Wisconsin's a dairy state, right? Dairy was not large industry. Dairy was mom and dad had a head of 80 cows.
Yeah.
On their 80 acres. But it was all over. Everybody, out in the country had a farm.
Yeah.
They had dairy cows. They did their own, like, it was all family, and there was lots of people doing it. Our generation, the baby boomers are dying off. Like, my parents, your parents, they're not farmers.
Yeah.
How many people our age or your parents' age do you know that still work a farm that hasn't sold out?
It's funny you make this point because my grandpa was saying the other day, and it was kind of unrelated to this, but he's like, everybody that I went to school with grew up on a farm.
Yep.
Like, pretty much everybody. He's like, probably over half the kids I graduated with lived on a farm.
Yep.
And I guess that's a good point as far as, like, if that's where you're going with the agricultural land piece.
Yeah, so that's...
Because the other thing is, and I just heard this the other day, is, like, a food source, a piece of land can only hold so many deer, right?
Correct.
A mature doe eats 8 pounds of food a day. Think about that.
Fat bitch, yeah.
So, even, like, for us, at my grandpa's land that you've been to, we've got 3 food plots there. Mm-hmm. Well, think of if 3 does live on that piece of land and come to those food plots every day.
Yep.
They're going to eat those food plots off. I mean, it's not enough to hold a full herd of deer.
No, you're talking like 20, like where you were sitting 200 deer.
Yeah.
But surrounding you in like that section, like that mile section, I mean, there's probably cornfields, hay fields, like there's crops all over to support that amount of deer.
Well, and what I've always heard about mature bucks is like they're not going to screw with that, Mm-hmm. So my point in this as we get into some things maybe a little later if it comes up is like I'm in support of shooting does. I don't personally really do it because I don't hunt in an area where I feel like the does are overpopulated, but I'm not like a shoot a bit. If you want to hunt for meat, then shoot a big buck. That's what you have to do. Like I'm fine with people shooting does. That's totally fine with me. But yeah, I think like a mature buck's not gonna. They're just gonna go somewhere else. If you're overpopulated with those. But okay, so what about controllable variables?
So I'm gonna finish with the uncontrollable. So what the difference is too. Up there, like especially where I grew up hunting, Price County, from Barron County north across the entire state. All those family farms, that were dairy farms, like they always had hay. They do corn, they do soybeans. Take a drive up, Highway 63, go past Hayward, go to Ashland. A lot of those fields are just overgrown set-aside grass now. Like, they don't get farmed. They don't get... So, like, the food source is lost. The other thing they did very well back in the late 90s and early 2000s is logging a lot. They still log today, but they're not cutting timber like they did years ago, which provides, a year later, new browse for deer, areas to support deer, stuff like that. So those are uncontrollable variables just because those small families are selling out to big corporate companies and they, bigger people that just don't do that stuff. They're not farmers. So you took away the food source, or majority of the food source. The winters you can't do anything about because it's up to God. I mean, it's seriously random on how bad the winter is.
Controllable factors are the amount of tags, the predation rules. I'll just go with those two off the bat. So, the way Wisconsin works, you get a buck with a gun, you get a buck with a bow. The state historically is like some units used to be earn a buck. They used to give out doe tags with every license. Now it's like you get certain counties, if you're in farmland, you get gifted 2 doe tags. Central Forest Zone, Northern Forest Zone, you don't get any. You have to buy an allotted quota that runs out. So you get to kill 2 bucks. And predation is not regulated like it was, and this is where this is, some people are like, oh, I hate the wolves, or people are like, wolves don't do anything. Late 90s, historically what happened? Open season on wolves. What did the baby boomer generation do? They fucking annihilated almost the entire population of wolves in Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's taken until like the last 10 years for them to really make a comeback.
Yeah, well, they were reintroduced, from Minnesota, early 2009, 2010, blah, blah, blah. But late 90s, early 2000s. Statistically, in that article, the Douglas County guy said that the best deer hunting and harvest ever reported in Wisconsin was 2001, where they killed so many deer up there, and good deer. They didn't have the predation. Like, bears were down, coyotes were down, people still trapped because you got money for the hide, so people were actively trapping. Wolves were non-existent, so you literally ruled out these uncontrollable factors, as far as predation. So the only factors you then have to compete with are winter severity and food source, which at the time was still a lot more. So, you now have habitat that is made for whitetails to thrive. Over the years, as things have gotten more progressive, okay, let's not kill the wolves. We want a growing population to balance an ecosystem. Cool, I get that. But with that, in that article, the game warden stated, because we are allowing wolves and we want a steady population of wolves, hunters in northern Wisconsin need to adapt to a new normal of just having a less deer population. If they want predators, people in Madison want predators in the state of Wisconsin, you're going to expect less deer, less elk. The elk population they've introduced 20 years ago, there's a reason it's still at 200. Because half the calves, if not majority of the calves that are born, are either getting eaten by black bears or wolves. Or they're just not making it through the winter, whatever it is. Yeah. It's literally like a 15 to 20% chance survival rate for these calves, which is why it's taken forever.
Yeah.
And a whitetail's in the same boat. So over the years, guys like my dad, my uncles that bought, they bought that property in Price County in 2002. Because that was there's freaking deer everywhere, and they were killing 140, 150-inch bucks up there. Then I started hunting 2010, 2011, we had a bad winter in 2013. Since that winter in 2013, nothing has been the same.
Yeah.
Because predators have came up, the deer population had dropped so much it was never able to recoup. And the other part that you can't beat people on is in Wisconsin, we have so many deer hunters, over 600,000 licensed deer hunters. And a lot of them hunt up in northern Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So they took away the doe tags to try and help the population, which I kind of agree with. But the issue with that is because you took away the doe tags, a lot of these people are less than well off. I don't want to say poor, but lower middle class.
They're going to.
They want.
I think
they
the
want
point is they're going to use.
Meat, yes.
Yeah, they want to hunt deer for meat.
So they're not in it for the antlers, which is fine, and I can respect that. But the issue with not having a doe tag then is it puts pressure on the person behind the gun to be like, if I can't shoot a doe, I need a buck. So the first spike, the first basket that walks out, they've started blasting. And since mid-2000, 2010 on, a lot of the bucks I see people shoot they're all 1.5-year-olds up there or 2-year-olds. I have not seen a 150-inch deer come out of Price County or Sawyer County or how many years? When's the last time you saw a stud buck? It happens. It's a rarity. It's one out of probably 1,000 deer shot up there are going to break 130. That's just what it is.
Well, and I guess so you're saying they're not giving out enough doe tags?
No, so this is where I don't have the solution, right? If they give out doe tags, I think people are going to fill those doe tags and continue to shoot 1.5-year-old deer. So that's the thing.
That's the point of So earlier I made the point that like I support shooting does. So part of the problem I think is doe tags. Like if we just want to see the deer population in general get better, I think we need to cut back the doe tag. Like
I agree.
For me right now, I could shoot 6 does right now and tag all of them with tags in my name. Like I have 2 for bow hunting.
Yep.
You can buy a bonus tag for $12.
And there's no cap on them.
Right. And I've got 2 for... Oh, there's no cap. So I can shoot more than 6 because I've got 2 for rifle hunting and I can buy bonus tags.
Depending on the county. So, like, if you were to hunt Buffalo County, you could spend $500 on doe tags after you've used up your 4 free tags. And not run out of doe tags. Like, you could literally go and shoot 25 does a year if you wanted to.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think that's definitely like a... Because for me, like, yes, I hunt to shoot a big buck, but if I'm at least seeing deer, I stay invested in it. Like, I'm like, okay, if I can see 10 does a day or whatever, I'm like, okay, it's just a matter of time until a decent buck shows up. Or theoretically, right? And I'm going to stay in it a little better. And obviously, if you shoot a doe that's pregnant, that deer that could be the 150-inch buck never comes along. And I say that still in support of shooting does. Like, yes, I think people should shoot does. The other thing that I think would be cool that I would... Like, it's kind of a catch-22 because part of what made Wisconsin rifle hunting cool to me, this would get rid of. Like how I was saying, the camaraderie of all of it. Because there's so many people that come from Minnesota because they have family here. Or come from wherever because they have family here and do deer camp. And, well, party hunting, yes, that's one of them. But you can just buy an over-the-counter tag and come rifle hunt in Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's one of the cheapest tags out there. It's $170. I think it's the cheapest non-resident tag.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can't go just rifle hunt in Iowa. I can't go just rifle hunt in Kansas. I can't go just rifle hunt in Missouri. Like,
yeah, you can.
Okay, Missouri, yes, but it's an expensive tag.
$300, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you talk about all these getting into what are considered quote-unquote fantasy land states. Like, it'd be cool to see Wisconsin at least restrict that a little bit and limit the number of hunters for a couple of years, I think, just to help get that herd back to where it needs to be. It's like I said, I'm never gonna shit on somebody for shooting what makes them happy, I guess. But if you're a meat hunter, I saw a post the other day of a guy with his literally 2-inch spot. I mean, this thing looked like a fawn like a nubbin fawn that somehow grew horns a little bit longer than nubs. That he shot on opening morning. And he's like, meat in the freezer for my family. Like, and I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Like, I understand, like, you have a young family, like, you want to provide meat. This is a good way to do it, especially if you can process it yourself. You're going to save a ton of money. But at the same time, if you're only going to shoot that one deer, you easily could have gone out. I promise you, if you sat for a week, you would have seen a doe that you could have shot.
Yeah. I think so.
That's the same size as that little buck. And so, like, I get I'm making two kind of contradictory points about shooting
point to that, though.
Shooting does, not shooting does, and if you can't, message me and I'll give you spots to go sit. And I promise you will see a doe in 9 days there that you could shoot. So it's just, it's one of those things that it's hard to come up with an answer. Like, I feel like the DNR has kind of done a poor job of all of it.
Yeah.
Like, the wolves, obviously, I think, the wolves, coyotes are the biggest problem, probably.
Well, and that's
that's the biggest thing I've heard, at least.
And that's almost, like, it's on the border of being uncontrollable, because you and I will never be able to decide when we can hunt them again, and then you'll never be able to just go exterminate. So you're, like... Knowing this, you and I know for the next, until we're dead probably, there will always be a population of wolves, probably growing in the state of Wisconsin.
Well, and I don't know why these fruitcakes won't let us shoot them. I'm sorry, like, as a conservationist, I'm like, what good does a wolf provide? Okay, you want to balance the ecosystem. Hunting partially does that. Yeah. Coyotes are going to do that too. We're not going to exterminate wolves. But I'm hearing stories now of people that are bear hunters talking about 200-pound bears being drug out of their dens
wolves, yes.
by wolves, and by the time the bear comes through, it's got its throat ripped out.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't that scare people? Like, I don't want to walk into the woods at 5:45 in the morning, not knowing if wolves are out there or not. And if I do see one and decide to shoot it, then you're going to end up probably in court in all these, if somebody finds out, in all these battles of whether it was self-defense or not. It's stupid.
9 out of 10 people that support the wolf population or defending the protection of wolves are in counties in the state that do not have wolves.
Right.
They're from Madison, they're from Milwaukee. I promise you, if you and I went and live trapped 6 wolves, and we went to downtown Madison and dropped them off in the suburbs and let them run wild, within 3 days, it would be a state of emergency for the residents there because a lot of their dogs and cats had just got eaten. There's wolves running around, and I think the opinion would change down there.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we don't want these things. It's like, oh, you don't want them down there? Guess what? We don't want them
It's not gonna change because you can't argue with people on that side. I mean, we don't need to get political, but yeah, you can't. I mean, but shit, there was just a point. I haven't actually listened to it, so if I screw up the lingo on this and you have listened to it, don't be all in my DMs saying, you messed this up. You start your own podcast, and you can talk about it however you want. You can have your own hour to rant about whatever you want, and I'll listen to it if you start it and message me, just to prove me wrong. But Joe Rogan, I guess, had this guy on. Like, I heard this from somebody who I trust has the story, right? Had this guy on talking about coyotes. And I want to find it and listen to it because it sounds really interesting to me. And like 30 years ago or however long it was, nobody in this part of the country, nobody in the southeast, nobody in the east, like had coyotes. They were only in the southwest part of the country. And now they've spread, which I've heard is kind of a reoccurring theme among a lot of animals. Yeah. Like cougars, I've heard have been tagged in like Nebraska, and they'll wind up in like Illinois. Nebraska's having its first cougar hunt ever next year. That one that just got shot in Buffalo County
last week, they said was a 2-year-old male from Nebraska.
Yeah, I mean they'll travel forever, so it's not like unheard of for animals to do that. So the Georgia DNR did a study on coyotes and really tried hard to like restrict the number of coyotes and eliminate a lot of them. Sure. And all that happened, like they put their full resources at this, and it just got worse. And so I think Joe Rogan had this guy that's kind of like an expert on coyotes on, and he talked about how when you hear coyotes yipping at night, what they're doing is roll call. And if one goes missing or one doesn't respond, the whole pack goes and looks for it. And if they can't find it immediately, like within a week or two, one of the females will go into heat to
fill that void.
To fill that void. And so it's like they're the most like nobody gets left behind. Like they're all about the pack animal, and I mean it's kind of crazy. So like since I heard that, I'm like obviously if I see a coyote and I can shoot it, like I'm gonna shoot it. But it's almost just kind of feels like what's the point almost.
Yeah, I mean we had 5 or 6 run by us opening morning that chased those deer out. Like the 2 does that came out by us, like got chased out by those coyotes. Yeah. And like I mean they were curious. They came into us until I moved, and then it freaked the. I mean they weren't huge. They're 40-pound coyotes, but still, it's like there's a toll.
Yeah.
But back to the deer thing of like what I would think could fix this. Now there's a bunch of different solutions that have like people tried, people argue this doesn't work. I fully believe if Wisconsin adapted like Minnesota, a 1-buck state, whether you shoot it with a gun or you shoot it with a bow, if you get 1 buck, that saves on average $45,000 a year. Like in the state of Wisconsin, that'll eliminate, if not more than that will get saved annually, because you can only shoot 1. The other thing that will never pass, but fuck, I wish it was, is a 4-point antler restriction. Now they say it doesn't work. It doesn't help grow the class. Like statistically, people say it doesn't help grow your age class of deer.
4 in total or 4 per side?
4. No, like it has to have at least 4 on one side. So like a 7-pointer or an 8-pointer, or somehow there's a 2x4. If you had a 4-point rule, it would 100% eliminate all the spikes, all the forks. Basically, it helps about 70% of the population of 1.5-year-olds not get shot.
Yeah.
Now, do those deer turn into coyote food? Do they turn into wolf food? Do they grow into 2-year-olds next year? I think what northern Wisconsin lacks is age class of deer. Like, I went down to Monroe County and we hunted. I think a lot of the bucks down there are 100% making 3.5 years old. Like, because guys that hunt down there, they're like, we have good deer, we know we have good bucks, we don't need to shoot a 1.5-year-old, we don't need to shoot a 2-year-old. They're making it to 3.5. Up where we're at.
Well, and I think once a deer reaches like 2.5, I think the chances of them being eaten by coyotes and stuff like that diminishes quite a bit. I think it's the fawns and like the 1.5-olds that
Correct.
Predators like that, maybe not wolves, but predators like that are really hard on, you know? Mm-hmm. So once your deer are starting to get a little bit older, then it's easy for them to make it to 4.5, 5.5,
Correct.
if they're not getting shot by other hunters, which a lot of people are going to shoot a 3-year-old. It's a no-doubter for them.
Here,
but
everybody's going to shoot a 3.5-year-old, which
yeah.
is why I was going to say, I still think, like, where we're at in the state, there's quite a few people that are letting 1.5-year-olds go, but 2.5-year-olds are done.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think 70% of your deer are not reaching 3.5 up here versus down Highway 94 and south. I think 50% of your bucks are making it to at least 3.5 years old.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a big factor. So it's like, if that 4-point restriction could help improve a 1-year age class, I think people, like, not only would you see better deer, maybe not giant bucks, but at least, you know, like, okay, you're seeing 2-year-old 8s, you know, 2-year-old 10s, and then you're thinking about it like, oh, I should maybe let that go deer because he'll be a stud next year.
Yeah.
But the issue with that is there's the guy that says, I have my own land, I buy my own tag, I'm shooting what I want. Like, you're never going to change that mentality, and that's why that will always fail, because if you pass that rule or somehow it passes, they're going to be pissed, they're going to go off grid, they're going to still shoot what they want. Like, you cannot change that mentality. And that's, I hunted in Missouri I lived there 2 years. Every county that I hunted in had the 4-point rule, and every hunter I talked to said that's the best fucking rule they've ever had. And granted, less predators, less winter, lots of ag, so all those controllable or uncontrollable factors are in the deer population's favor.
Hey, congrats on your first deer, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Fucking killer.
Savage. Heard you made 2 good shots in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Atta girl. All right, we better wrap it up. We're at 58 minutes.
So anyways, we're bitching about Wisconsin gun season, why I hate it. There's a few things that if I could, I would change, but I don't think are going to change. So I think I'm just now going to start planning trips every gun season. Like, I went to Texas, you know, or I'd go, like, Oklahoma. Like, I might even go to Oklahoma, somewhere other than the state of Wisconsin during the 9-day gun season. Unless somebody calls me up and they're like, yeah, I got a 400-acre farm down in Buffalo County or Trempealeau or somewhere down there, and they're like, come hunt. That's the only time I'll buy another fucking gun tag. I'm done hunting up here for gun season.
Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, have a happy Thanksgiving. This probably won't get released until after then, but hope everybody does good on their Thanksgiving. Good luck to all the Wisconsin hunters the rest of the year. Stay safe. We'll catch you next time.
And if it's brown, it's down. I don't know. Don't go to Harlem.